Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the Cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Ethereum, dubious speculation. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the sale on Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com. Let's go ahead and jump in. So, Ethereum's price is still slowly grinding down, right? It was back at around 4,900, back in about mid-August, and it's continued to fade. Now, if you followed these views, we did this video about a week ago, very similar idea, back in this first candle, and also sort of leading up to this high. The whole idea that we presented was that after Ethereum goes to the regression band, after it goes home, it then should rally to all-time highs. But the reasoning for expecting a rejection by Ethereum on that rally to all-time highs is because in order to get a more durable season where altcoins outperform Bitcoin, you need Ethereum to durably go above $5,000. And for me, this was not the time to do it. And the reason is, if you look at alt Bitcoin pairs in general, you can see they often top out around late August. Here's August of 2025. If you look at August of 2024 right here, August of 2023 right here, even August of 2017, right? And if you look here, August of 2020, there's so many times where alt Bitcoin pairs find local tops around late August. And if Ethereum were to durably go above 5K, it would then kind of go against the idea, because I think that if Ethereum does go durably above 5K, it would allow the altcoin market to go up against Bitcoin, right? Altcoins would likely follow in that case. But from a seasonality perspective, it makes more sense right now for alts to bleed against Bitcoin for the next couple of months. And so what that suggests is Ethereum's likely not going to break 5K in the month of September. Okay. And if it does, then, you can see a completely different thing on alt Bitcoin pairs. But in terms of thinking about like seasonality for alt Bitcoin pairs and how they find local tops late August, it makes sense to assume that Ethereum would get rejected on this first approach to the all-time high, right? Now, it did put in an all-time high, which is what we said, right? We said all-time high in August, pull back to the 21-week EMA in September. A lot of people loved me in August, right? And leading up to that. And now I have seen some pushback on the idea of a pullback back to the 21-week EMA. But I would say this, right? I would continue to say this. It would be, maybe I'm wrong, but it would be a completely normal correction. In fact, if you look at the prior bull markets, right, September of 2021, Ethereum had a 30% drop from the local top to the 20-week SMA, 21-week EMA. If you look at 2020, from the local top in September, it fell back down about 35% and got pretty close to tagging that 21-week EMA. If you look at 2017, it put in a local top right there and then had a larger drop, but the weekly close was right around that 20-week SMA, 21-week EMA. So to me, when I talk about Ethereum potentially getting that 30% drop, not from the current levels, but from the local high, a lot of people get upset. But from the current levels, it would be about another 20% drop that I think will happen. Now, I want to be clear. My expectation right now is that Ethereum will go back up, but not before it tags that 21-week EMA. I'm thinking by late September or early October. Okay, so I think it's going to come back down here by late September or early October. and then go right back up. Okay? That is how I think this is going to play out. It's tough getting the path right? Like, it's tough getting the path right. But by talking about the path so much over here, it allowed people to save some cash to buy Ethereum when it went home. And then by doing so, Ethereum then rallied 250% in a really short period of time. A lot of people ask me why I keep focusing on Ethereum. Like, why am I not talking about, all these altcoins that are doing well? And the reason is because in order to be a successful investor, you don't need to track like 1,000 different altcoins. You just need a good trade idea here or there. And when you get one right, just ride it, right? Like, ride that idea. And you can make a lot of money on a single idea rather than just, looking at a lot of different altcoins and trying to find every single trend. Because one of the things we talked about during this rally by Ethereum was that alts would bleed to Ethereum until Ethereum hits an all-time high. Well, Ethereum hit an all-time high the week of August 18th. Would you care to guess what week alts bottomed against Ethereum? August 18th. So you can see that alts going up against ETH right now. They hit a low the same week that Ethereum hit an all-time high. Alts against ETH. But alts, while they're going up against ETH, they still, I mean, it's not obvious yet, but the local top for alts has still been late August, right? I mean, these wicks here were late August. And a lot of times when alt Bitcoin pairs do start to go down in August, the first few weeks are very slightly red. Like, it's not obvious. Like, look at 2017. You basically just had these like tiny little candles, and then as you got into October, alts really capitulated against Bitcoin, because then Bitcoin went on another parabolic rally. So I think alts will continue to bleed against Bitcoin. I think they'll go up against Ethereum, but the main reason is because I think Ethereum is going to drop to the 21-week EMA, which is still about a 20% drop, right? Like, that's still about a 20% drop. But altcoins, for total 3 to get back to its 21-week EMA, it would only be about, a 9% drop. So the path for these coins to go back to their 21-week EMA, it's a larger drop for Ethereum than it is for altcoins. And so that's how altcoins can go up against Ethereum, because they're dropping less than Ethereum as Ethereum goes to the 21-week EMA. And the reason they're dropping less than Ethereum is because it didn't rally as much as ETH did. So you see alts dropping on their Bitcoin pairs, but rallying on their ETH pairs. And so this is still continuing, to play out, right? So again, what I think is going to happen is ETH will likely drop back in here to the 21-week EMA by late September or early October, and then rally back up to a new all-time high. Those are my views. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and again, check out the sale on Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.